Hey you, welcome back to the channel. This is a very exciting video. Oh man, I don't even know how to talk about this. I'm just so excited. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the S10 again, the Samsung Galaxy S10, but this time obviously I've actually owned one since the day before launch, which was really exciting. I got the regular S10 in the Prism Black, and I think this is truly one of the best phones I've ever laid hands on. Obviously, this isn't a full review in terms of an extended period of time, but from the last couple days that I've had it, I've got some really interesting opinions about it and wanted to share some stuff with you. So there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about. The first one is the display. This now has a HDR10 Plus display with HDR10 Plus support on the camera as well. Watching and consuming media on this device has been an extraordinary experience so far. I've not had any problems with viewing angles, with the picture quality, with the vibrance, with the color accuracy, anything like that. I switched it to the vivid mode straight away and sort of left it, I think it's called natural, behind because the vivid mode was so much more appealing to me. It does boost some of the colours a little bit too much, but it's something that you can very easily ignore because of the balance between the whole colour range. In terms of brightness as well, brightness is amazing. Outdoor hasn't been a problem for me whatsoever, and indoor I've been able to still actually quite survive with the full brightness on. It's never been too harsh or too ridiculous. It seems like quite a satisfying temperature the whole time. I know you can adjust the temperature as well, but I've left it on the middle setting, the default setting, and so far I've had no complaints at all. Now, we obviously can't talk about the display without talking about the hole punch camera in the top. I missed the phone. I was like that. That was just, it disappears. It just vanishes. You know, I barely even notice it. The wallpaper I've chosen is designed to hide it. You can kind of see that there. Obviously the light still catches the lens and you can spot it from certain angles, but I mean, using it day to day, it's never become an issue. With the night mode in One UI, it vanishes as well. So in all the menus, it's just completely black. It looks like a full display phone. No notch, no bezel, nothing like that. The bottom bezel being a little bit bigger doesn't fuss me at all. Again, I came from an S9 Plus, which had huge bezels on the top and bottom. Well, I say huge, they're not massive, but in comparison to something like this, they are quite big. Something that I haven't seen anyone talk about so far with this phone is the lack of the notification LED, which is something that was gotten rid of on the OnePlus 6T, which some people did mention. But through all the reviews, all the impressions, everything that I've looked at this phone so far, nobody has mentioned the notification LED. And honestly, I haven't really noticed it myself either. The always on display can show my notifications. With my Galaxy Watch as well, got the 42mm Galaxy Watch. With my notifications, I see them on here all the time. I haven't got any problems with that. But I think the notification LED is something that's going to die very quickly and not many people are going to notice. I've still got it on my secondary phone. I've actually switched my secondary phone from the OnePlus 6T to the Note 9 just to compare things like battery life and camera quality, performance, etc. But I don't feel like I really pay attention to the notification LED on that as much. Maybe a little bit more than I would my primary phone, but mainly because my smartwatch is only linked to my primary phone, not my secondary, of course. So still sticking with the camera theme, let's talk about some biometrics. So the unlocking techniques on this phone are obviously all your standard stuff like pattern, PIN, password, you know, alphanumeric, whatever. But you also have the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, and you have the facial recognition. Now, I know a lot of people have been saying that the facial recognition isn't as secure. That's fine. I don't think anyone would want to find out what's in my phone because it's not particularly interesting. I haven't got anything valuable in there other than the handset itself. So the speed of it is something that I'm more satisfied with. I'm not too worried about the fact that the security is lost a little bit. I was very used to the speed of the OnePlus 6T's facial recognition, and seeing it on this phone is no exception. You get the little animation around the camera. Again, the speed is insane. It doesn't take any time at all to actually get into the phone. Personally, I use the click the lock button, and then when it's recognized, I then swipe up to get into the phone. But some people prefer an instant unlock. It makes you appreciate the speed a little bit more, but I do like to be able to actually look at my lock screen, read what's on it before deciding whether I want to open the phone or not, or whether I need to open the phone or not. Just having a quick glance past what's on the always on display, which is just a little icon, that actually benefits me more. Some people it doesn't, but you can change it in the settings, which I think is being grossly misunderstood by people who watch certain YouTubers' videos. Where I work, I sell these devices, and a lot of people have come in saying that they're not happy with the fact that you can't actually change the way that the phone unlocks. That's a total misunderstanding. You can change pretty much everything about this phone and the way that you use the biometrics. So don't hold back on little things like that, especially things that could, even if they were true, could actually be changed in a software update. Ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. I like it. I have sometimes fallen victim to going to use it, but then the facial unlocking being too quick. So when I'm going to unlock the phone, say if I think my face is at a bit of a weird angle where I don't think it will quite recognize me, it'll be a little bit off center. Maybe instead of being directly in front of me like this, it's more like that. And I've gone to press the sensor, but it's already unlocked my face. So I tap it a couple of times trying to figure out why it's not unlocking, and then realize that it's actually already been unlocked and I just have to swipe up. Now, with the fingerprint sensor in the past, if your face was recognized first and you press the fingerprint sensor, it would then unlock the phone. Again, maybe this is something that could be changed in software, but I feel that when I do press that sensor and I've already been recognised when the screen is on, then I have a little bit of an issue because I then have to try and find which biometric has worked and swipe it. It's such a tiny, tiny little issue. It's probably the only complaint I have about the software on the phone at all, which says quite a lot for what this phone is up against. Excluding that, the sensor itself is very quick and very reliable. I haven't had any issues with it not recognising my thumb. It seems to work pretty much every time. Maybe 1 out of 15 times it hasn't worked. Again, that's based on me using it for the last couple of days, so the recognition of my fingerprint hasn't actually been used that much. So over time it will definitely get better. The quality of the sound that comes out of this phone is something I feel like I don't need to mention, simply because it was really good on the S9 and the S9 Plus, and it's no exception on this one. This one's actually a little bit louder, and I think maybe a little bit better quality, but you've still got the Dolby Atmos in there, speakers by AKG, really, really good setup for the sound. So when watching video, you have this full immersive display with only the cutout to worry about, which again disappears in most instances, and then you get this amazing sound provided you're not using any headphones. Coming from a device this small, it's surprising because, like I said, the quality is a little bit better than last year, even when compared to the Note 9. This one definitely beats it. This one definitely outshouts it, if you like. This one sounds incredible and the quality doesn't get lost at high volumes. Just making sure I'm not out of focus there. So a couple of other little things that I've noticed. The battery life is good. It can get me through a whole day, but it's not quite as good as my Note 9, and that's obviously saying something. The Note 9 has a huge battery, and the S10 Plus, the bigger variant of this one, has got way better battery life because the battery is huge in scale comparison to this and the S10e. I think it could be a little bit better, but I do actually think that it is serving me well. The phone never overheats when I'm doing a lot on it. I can watch a good couple of hours of films or Netflix TV shows or anything like that, and it still holds up and still performs well after extended use. I think the idea of going for One UI was a very, very smart move by Samsung. Completely changing their interface from something that nobody really liked to something that everyone can get along with no matter what was a fantastic decision. Personally, I have mine very decked out in quite heavy skin, which I never normally do. I never put skins on my phone. So I've gone for this completely black and white theme, with obviously the cutout being hidden in the corner. Full gestures as well, the One UI gestures, so using the middle to go home, the right to go to multitasking, and the left to go back. And I've also set up the edge panels around here and another back button around here. I don't feel like I'm too qualified to talk about the camera just yet. It's very early days, but I did go out for a little bit of shooting today in my local area and managed to get some pretty impressive shots, but I haven't taken it through enough to give my full unedited opinion of it. In terms of the actual quality, just to make it simplistic, the quality overall is brilliant. Much better than my S9 Plus and my Note 9. Taking pictures has become a whole new realm for me now. Having this third lens, having these extra options in the camera settings without it being too confusing or too overpowering has led to more creative decisions on my end, more ways of thinking about how a shot's going to be composed, and more thinking about how I'm actually looking at a landscape or a building or a subject or whoever. You get this traditional image of photographers and filmmakers sort of doing this and picturing exactly what it is that they want to see in the frame, where now, provided it works in the situation, you can think, what am I looking at now? How am I seeing things now? Is this how I want it to be? Sure, let's go for that. Open up the wide angle camera, put it right here, take the photo, and you know that it's going to look good. I think Samsung's choice to go for the 16 megapixel camera on the wide angle lens was a great choice as well. You can kind of see that if it was any lower resolution, it would lose quality quite quickly. Obviously, with any wide-angle lens, you do get a little bit of distortion on the sides, but Samsung have also included a software fix that lets you fix things in post, or lets the camera automatically fix bowed images in post. So I took this picture in the forest, and you can see there's a tree on the left-hand side which is significantly curved due to the curvature of the lens when taking the photo. Obviously, it's going to happen. If you flick on the option to correct this kind of flaw in the image, then it actually straightens the tree out pretty significantly, and it scans the whole image for anything that may be of lower quality or be warped or have some kind of distortion on it, and fixes it right within the phone as soon as the picture is saved. That is very impressive. I tried out the super steady camera mode as well. That was very, very cool. There's a couple of videos that I took where I'm literally running through the forest, and although you can see a tiny, tiny bit of camera movement up and down, if anyone was watching me, you would see that I was not holding the camera as steady as this when I'm running. I'm holding it with one hand, it's going up and down like this, it's going side to side, I'm switching it up to the sides, I'm looking at the sky and everything, and then I watched the footage back, and I thought, did I even film that? Is there like a dolly or a Steadicam attached to me or something like that? It was just insane. It looks so much better when you watch it back, and it was really surprising how well it actually dealt with the shake of the camera and the change of perspective. It switches it to the wide-angle lens to capture the most information and then stabilize based on that. I believe that's how it works anyway. And honestly, I don't see a huge loss in quality. It's obviously not as good quality as the 4K video mode or even the full HD mode on the camera itself, but it's definitely an impressive feature. Once again, I think my favorite part about all of this is the cameras on these phones. It's something that has stepped up the quality that Samsung provide very significantly. And I didn't have too many complaints with the S9 Plus or the Note 9, but the cameras on here are just something else completely. Now, I would have preferred the white, but that is nothing for me to complain about. I understand that in exchange for using this device, I have to give my own feedback. You know, it's not a costly procedure, but I do love phone cases. For my S9 Plus, I had a hefty collection of cases, and all of them I loved. All of them were for different purposes, or I bought them for different reasons. But I've already started my collection for this one, starting with two. The silicone case, which just arrived about half an hour ago. This is the green one. This is my favourite colour of the ones that they offer. And then also the LED case. This is the one that was supplied with the phone. And I think, honestly, it's one of the more interesting accessories that's come out for a phone recently. They did have the LED flip case and the Clearview flip case, and it's pretty impressive, but you can see that it's already getting scratched up a little bit. It does give the phone quite a premium look when hit in the right light, and if you obviously have the case turned on when it's face down, then it also looks very, very impressive. The silicone case, I just thought it would be fun. I can't get over how nice this colour is. I think it's so crazy, so weird, kind of like my hair right now. And I think it just works for me. I think that's pretty much all I have to say for the time being. I will be doing a more full, more comprehensive review after a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, using the device and seeing how it gets on. I also want to try and get hands-on with the S10 5G at some point, or even get a review unit of the S10 Plus through work, but we're just gonna have to see what happens and see how it goes. I'm really stoked to be using this device every single day, and I think that is going to be one of my favourite phones that I've ever used. So far it has been, and it's only been a couple of days, but I've had no big issues so far, no complaints. I think this is a huge step in the right direction for Samsung, and I look forward to seeing what's next. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you very soon.